Hey guys, Brian Stevens over here with Mortgage Shots and the National Real Estate Post. Listen, if you want to get my show on a daily basis, which is a refined kind of version of this, no spam, we won't sell your information off. All you have to do is go to mortgageshots.com and subscribe it if you're seeing this for the first time. Make sure you jump on board. Well, let's jump into this. Let's see if we can do it. We've got 10 items, maybe more, in 10 minutes on how to go ahead and beat the real estate and mortgage industry today. These are the most relevant and pertinent topics that are affecting your decisions both in writing loans, selling real estate, and even buying real estate. So let's jump right in. Starting out, we know this Black Friday spending, it raised eyebrows over the United States economy. There's two ways that we could look at this. One, we spent more money than we've ever spent on a Black Friday, which I find disconcerting because 75% of the people out there cannot afford to change their tires because they don't have $1,000 in savings. Why are we spending more money on the holidays when we don't have it? The answer is we charge it. We charge it on credit cards. As you know, we have $1.4 trillion in revolving debt. It's the highest we've ever seen. And the average credit card interest rate is 28%, the highest we have ever seen. Now, we know that the lifeblood of the United States economy and 70% of the United States economy is on spending. It keeps everything afloat. But when we're spending on credit, does this create a problem? And I say it certainly does. So yes, we're spending the money. The problem is the raise that we're seeing in spending, well, it didn't exceed what inflation has done over this past year. Meaning, truth be told, spending is down, but the cost for everything is up. We might call this one a double whammy of both good and bad. Existing home sales. All right, I want you guys to check this out. This goes back to 1965. And if we're just to kind of stink eye this thing, real estate existing home sales, they're not bad at all. Relative to the 1960s, which is going to put us at about a 70-year average here, we're kind of pegging middle of the term, aren't we? We're hitting just about the median. The difference is our population growth has almost doubled since 1965. So the two big peaks on the right-hand side, which are clearly what we did post-COVID and what we did prior to the Great Recession of 2008, well, those numbers would be significantly lower relative to our population density. Now, if we do that, all we do is take everything over on the right, plug it down a little bit, and yes, real estate is down relative to everything that we know about real estate, but in the grander scheme of things, it's not that bad. The problem is we have too many lenders and too many real estate agents. Attrition is correcting that right now, isn't it? We're finding real estate agents falling off in numbers we have never seen. In the illustrious 70 years of the National Association of Realtors history, they're no longer publishing how many members they have. They've never done this before. Why is that? Because their numbers are abysmal. Real estate agents, for a number of reasons, aren't renewing their news. One, because they feel that the National Association of Realtors does not reflect what their views are. I would chime in on that one, but not the time or place. And two, things are difficult. So fewer real estate agents means more transactions for those that are still in the game. The spread between the 30-year mortgage rate and the 10-year treasury yields, well, right now, we're looking not so bad. We're 2025 down there on the bottom. As you can see, 2023 is significantly higher. But between those two, we're talking about a %. Not that much. What this equates to in mortgage rates is not a whole bunch, but it will change the spread or the margin on what lenders are getting. It's been worse, but it could be better. Mortgage purchase applications, once again, versus 2024, we're looking pretty good, aren't we? So in 2024, we were looking at 160,000. Right now, we're at 182,000 over the past year, which is a fairly significant increase. In fact, if we were to look at these numbers going back to 23 and 22, our numbers have progressively gotten better. So if you believe our market is getting worse, the truth of the matter is it's getting better. We have more applications with significantly fewer loan officers. This should spell out to more transactions for you, the mortgage loan officer. If you don't have more transactions today than you did this time last year, you are not keeping up with the median or the average loan officer, and that means you need to double down on your efforts. And I would like to chime in here. As a loan officer, don't buy any magic pills that says you can work a 20-hour week and still go ahead and close 50 deals per month. That isn't true. The only tried and true solution to your success is you busting your butt and working hard. Total pending home sales, once again, 22, 23, 24, and 25, all tracking in the right direction. If your business as a real estate agent or lender has not gotten better since 2022, we're not keeping up with the averages. Again, we need to double down on what we're doing. And as you can see, it's kind of worth noting over in June here, we actually did fairly decent with 465,000 sales. And there was a big spread between 2024, wasn't there? As we can see right now, relative to where we are, we still have December to go. It appears that we're going to track better than we did from December of last year. I'll tell you this right now, for those of you who are setting New Year's goals and you're going to start kicking ass next month, whatever you start today is going to close next year as a real estate agent or a lender. So if you want a good New Year's resolution, something that you might be able to hold on to, forget that gym membership because you ain't going to use it. Start working a little bit harder. Start with reaching out to your best opportunity. Your best opportunity is what I call your database. Okay. Now we're looking at this. We have 15.68% more inventory than we had last year. I was checking this out. We have 30, I want to say, and I could be wrong on this, but it's very, very close. We have about 30% more sellers in the market now than we have buyers in the market. This is great. This actually gets us back to 2019 numbers. This is the best we've seen in basically the last 6 years. This number is going to continue to increase, and this is going to be a great hedge for buyers, and this is a great hedge for loan officers. It's going to be great both in refinances and being able to put more folks in contract. If you're a listing agent, you're about to see what we saw back in 2009 and 10, where your properties don't move as fast. If you are a listing agent, and God knows every realtor wants to be a listing agent, here's what you need to do. Get in front of the market. Do not ride the market down. That means if your client thinks a house is worth $500,000, and you think it's worth $450, you should probably list that house at $440. Now, is that going to be a $60,000 haircut from what that seller perceives as what their value is? And the answer is emphatically yes. But the truth of the matter is simply this. The house ain't going to sell for the $500,000 in our scenario. And if you ride that market down, they might end up losing tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what your start point is. If you truly believe in your fiduciary, which is putting your client's best needs in front of your own, have the hard conversation up front because it pays dividends down the road. Okay, I thought this one was great. Beginning December 2025, the Trump administration is going to implement new rules targeting cash buyers and LLC purchasing residential properties in the United States. Why are they doing this? Because they want to know who actually owns these stinking houses. Is this going to make it harder for some of your cash transactions? It will if people are playing the shell game with corporations, LLCs, and offshore accounts. Under the new FinCEN requirements, a residential real estate purchase made through a trust, LLC, or corporation must include a full disclosure report. This will allow federal governments to identify the real owners of these properties and understand how the purchases were funded. As a real estate agent, you are absolutely going to have to get on top of this. Oh, scratch that. If you're a lender, this is another thing that you're going to need to deal with. So make yourself very, very acclimated with your disclosure reports. A full disclosure reports, and you're going to want to get those up front because this is going to be something relatively new to the lending industry, and I guarantee you this is going to put a bamboo stick in the spokes of a lot of tires, sending buyers, sellers, and real estate agents alike over the proverbial handlebars of their bikes. Let's not have late closings and lose a referral partner because we didn't get our full disclosure reports up front on our investment properties. Did relaxed credit standards drive the housing boom that led to the Great Recession? Answer is yes, it did. And we're seeing it again. See, what's happened is we decided that we didn't want to lend to people with 580 credit scores. So what do? We changed the algorithm with all the credit reporting agencies. So when we pull our residential mortgage credit report, we now have people who once had a 580 credit score who now have a 620 credit score. Those with a 620 have a 640. The 640s, the 680s, the 680s, the 700 credit scores. We've simply given people higher credit scores than what they once had. And now all of a sudden we don't have to do 580 credit scores because now, for some inexplicable reason, you have a 620 or a 640. Here's the scary part. We've loosened up our credit reports, but what we've also done is we've loosened up our credit scores. So now on our conventional loans, we can go down to God knows whatever you want to. Have fun trying to get a lender to write that loan though. Case in point, right now the median credit score for somebody with a Fannie, Freddie, or Ginnie note, that would be your conventional, your FHA, your USDA, and your VA, is somewhere north of 740, meaning everybody who's getting a house right now has great credit regardless. Everybody has great credit regardless of what the credit reporting bureaus are doing. People don't want to write bad loans that they're going to have to buy back because those are going to be scrutinized, end up on the scratch and dent market, and cost the wholesale lenders and the warehouse lines out there a ton of money. This one is too small. Let me see if I can make it bigger because I think this is great. Home prices have quadrupled relative to income from 1975 to right now, meaning it is just simply more difficult. Inflation aside, it is more difficult for people to buy houses now because house prices have gone up significantly more than our ability to earn our income. We either, one, need to make a hell of a lot more money in a very short period of time, and that ain't gonna happen, or two, we're going to see a significant correction to housing prices in the immediate future. Over on the right-hand side of this blue graph, I want you to look at that first big bump. That is the 2008 housing recession. Now look on the far right of this blue graph. That is the gigantic bump. What did the smaller 2008 recession do? It came crashing back down. What do we expect this one to do? You bet your ass if history repeats itself, we're going to see a drastic reduction in home values in the coming years. From a lender's perspective, you should be popping the champagne right now, doing the can-can in your loincloth, dancing around a fire, because this is fantastic news. You'll get more refinances and more purchases, and the lifeblood of all of our communities across the country will do better with a correction. Now, at the same time, go ahead and watch how the media portrays this. We've lost trillions of dollars in equity. This is an absolute catastrophe. My ass, you never had the equity in the first place. We're going to get back to what is considered a normal market. And normal, based on my estimation, that ain't a bad place to be relative to all this wonderful equity that we have with people being very poor and unable to deal with the increases that we find in our home prices and deal with the inflationary costs of our housing expense. Oh, wrong way. Rural areas see faster erosion in home values and affordability. Simply put, you want to get out of the rural areas and you want to get into the suburban areas and even the city densities if you want to find people who can afford houses. Secondly, I would add to this is you want to find self-employed people. Self-employed people who live in urban and suburban communities, that's where you're finding anything that might even possibly resemble affordability. When we get back out into the urban areas where people play banjos like we chew gum, no, it ain't working there as much. In fact, if we look at the change in income required for affordable median homes over on the left-hand side, rural areas are getting their ass kicked. Now, all joking aside, this is a major problem. Isn't it Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, and West Virginia? Actually, just kidding there. We have rural areas everywhere, even here in California, and it pains me to know that these people are suffering right now because prices and the sprawl because of a lack of affordability in our urban and our suburban areas is absolutely killing our rural areas. This is a sign of a sick housing market, and a housing correction that I spoke about a couple of slides ago is exactly what the doctor has ordered to fix this ailment. Again, the media is going to portray this as a horrible thing, but a price correction, a massive price correction over the next 2 years is going to defibrillate and bring the lifeblood back into the housing market and the mortgage market. But more importantly, it's going to help the people in the communities that we love. And I ain't joking about that, guys. Okay, many young adults are giving up on the dream of home ownership. On the left-hand side, people who expect to always rent. And on the right-hand side, people who plan to buy but have no saving towards their down payment. Would it surprise you to find out that nearly 70% of people today want to buy a house, but they don't have the down payment? Would it surprise them to know that they probably don't have to have a down payment in order to buy a house? You simply need to be able to make that house payment. The fact that people believe this, the fact that people expect to always rent is a failure on our part. My part and your part. We, as loan officers and real estate agents, we owe it to ourselves, our income, our family, but most importantly, our community, to let people know what's really taking place in the real estate and mortgage market. We have great 100% financing or high LTV financing. We do have down payment assistance programs out there. We do have Community Reinvestment Act funds money available to folks. And we do have sellers right now who are willing to give concessions for cash poor people to actually get into homes and realize the dream of home ownership. It's your job to go out there and let people know this, because I don't know how to dentist. I don't know how to doctor. I don't know how to frame houses. I might be able to do that one. I'm pretty good with a hammer. I'm not a truck driver. I'm a mortgage loan officer, and it's my job to be the best version of what I can be for myself, my family, and my community, and that's your job too. Did we make the 10 minutes? I certainly hope so. Listen, if you want to reach out to me, go ahead and send me a direct message, an instant message, or call me at this number right here. Better yet, send me a text and let me tell you how I can make you part of my team, because we do things